Welcome back, everyone. Well, as you know, one of the great things about the 12 Days of Giving campaign that we're doing here is it gives you, the viewer, an opportunity to get to know the people here at Look TV and the things that they're interested in, concerned about. And joining me is Jessalyn Meehan, who is a tech director here and an editor here, and kind of the calming voice in a lot of ways to many of the crazy things that go on around here. And so welcome, Jess. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for making me do this.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that, but I can tell you something. The organization you picked through your church is one of the most remarkable interviews that I've done in the time that I've been doing this. So tell us the name of the organization. Tell me why you selected it.
So the organization is AOET-Uganda,
Yes.
and I chose it because it's one of the many organizations that my church is very involved with. My church being the Presbyterian New England Congregational Church.
Got it.
And my family sponsors a child in Uganda. They've been sponsoring him for probably close to 10 years.
Wow.
So that's one of my connections. And then another one is one of the times that they went on these trips over to Uganda, they brought back a whole family. And the mom came here to study to become a nurse. And this family of 5 stayed with my parents for a couple months before they found their own place. And they're like a second family to us.
I bet. This is an amazing story, and Jessalyn is an amazing person. So, and her family, too. I've met her mom. Hey, all right, this interview is coming up right now, and I think you'll find it very informative. Thank you, Jess, for selecting this.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, good. Here's the interview. Welcome back, everyone. Well, you've heard me say this before. One of the wonderful things about doing this program is that I get to meet a lot of very interesting people. And another thing about having this team here that works here is that we all bring kind of an interesting perspective on the things that we look at in the world and the priorities we have. And Jessalyn, who works here, I asked her, I said, it's giving season, who would we talk to that you work with? And she mentioned Paul Phillips and an organization called AIDs Orphans Education Trust Uganda, and I'll explain what that is. But first, I want to welcome Paul.
Thank you.
Welcome, Paul. Very nice to have you here.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Boy, pay attention. This is interesting. Long about 2000. Well, let's go back to the 90s. Okay, you and your wife went over to Uganda.
Zimbabwe, actually.
Zimbabwe.
First time.
Okay. And when you were over there, tell me about the trip and tell me what happened as a result of that.
Sure. We were over there staying with a family that we knew from California, and we just came to love the African people, the beauty of the country, of the continent, and decided when I retired in '02 to go back to Africa. But at that time, Zimbabwe was not a safe place to go. So I went online and typed in Volunteer Africa and found this organization in Uganda, AOET. I went in '02 and have been going back every year since.
Now you've made, he's telling Paul and his wife, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. Have made like 14 trips.
Correct.
Wow, that's really something. Now, you're not going there just to vacation.
No, not at all.
Actually, quite the opposite, right,
Yes,
Paul?
yes.
So, Paul and his wife go there to volunteer, and with this organization that's dedicated to providing whatever possible life they can for the orphans, the AIDS orphans in Uganda.
Correct.
Now, considering that there are a lot of needs there, what kind of categories do you focus on for their betterment?
Education is number one, and the organization primarily exists to educate AIDS orphans and other vulnerable, very low-income children. Mm-hmm. We also have a medical clinic that supports those children and also the community in which it's located, and an alternative to orphanages where children live with families with biological children, and those families take them in for the rest of their lives.
Paul and I were talking before we went on air, we're supposedly a developed country, and I think there's a lot a developed country can learn from countries that are developing. One of the points I would like to make on that is, there's not an orphanage there that the children who, for no fault of their own, are born with AIDS are taken in by other families. So that whole idea of a family, nuclear family, is part of that experience that they have. And between the schools, education, and the healthcare, you're really trying to help these children.
The whole children.
Yes, right.
Yes.
Got it, sure. Good news. statistic. When you first started going over there, you were telling me that the rate of infection was really kind of high, and that's changed a lot. Tell me about that.
Yeah, when we first went over, first of all, if you got AIDS, you died.
Yes,
6 months to a year.
I remember that.
And now, most of the folks in Uganda, other than the ones that are way out in the bush, get AIDS, and they are living with AIDS instead of dying of AIDS because of antiretroviral vaccines. Also, the prevalence has gone way down. When we would test in 02 and 03, 25 to 35% of all the people we tested were HIV positive.
Wow.
That number is now 2 to 5%. 2, 3, 4, 5%. Huge, huge cutback. Wonderful.
That's remarkable.
It is remarkable.
You know, and again, you're thinking to yourself, you know, children are born with AIDS. You know, it's mother's milk. There's just so much of that kind of transmission that's. I guess you could say the word is accidental, but you know, the results and ramifications are not. You know,
No.
that these children are then afflicted with this disease. So that's really good news. Now, right here in Saratoga, this is quite a story. Right here in Saratoga, the Presbyterian New England Congregational Church. I think Jess will be proud that I got that out correctly.
And you did.
This is quite an active congregation in helping these children, correct? Tell me the ways this happens.
Sure. Well, several ways. First of all, there are 60 members of the church, and the church only has 300 members totally. But 60 members, and if you include spouses, it's more like 100,
Yeah, sure.
are sponsoring a child in Uganda, which means that child now has the opportunity to get an education, to get health care for themselves and for their family. And here in Saratoga, about 150 kids are being sponsored, 60 within our church and another 90 of other folks all over the Saratoga County.
Wow. Did you hear that? That's quite a statistic. By the way, the age of the children, 4 to 24, I think you were telling me. So you're talking about young children coming into the grade schools all the way through high school.
Through university,
Correct?
actually.
Through university. Wow. Yeah, that's really something. Now, a couple of things. I'm trying to get this all in the time that we have allotted. When Paul and his wife and the volunteers go over there, they work with the women in the village.
Yes.
Create a wonderful selection of jewelry and mats, and it's hard to explain exactly what this is, except I can tell you it's fantastic. Tell me how this is made.
Sure. The women take old calendars that are about to be thrown away, old magazines, they cut them up, wrap them around a nail, put a dab of glue on, string them, triple shellac them, and then make this jewelry out of them. That sounds very simple, and I've tried it, and I found it's very easy to do a lousy job. But to get these to be exactly the same is really a craft.
You know, I wish you could see this. This is really remarkable. And a wonderful selection, and of course, it's all unique and it's all original. So part of the way, a couple of things we can do here to help. You can sponsor a child for $38 a month, and we'll tell you how you can do that. And for that $38 a month, again, that money goes directly to the organization that goes directly to help these children out in education and in healthcare. And you can make donations, of course, but you could also volunteer your time, right? Isn't that true?
That's right.
Right. Okay, so you could volunteer your time here. You could take a trip to Uganda. Like you were saying, a lot of the congregation do that, right?
A lot of people in Saratoga do that.
Yeah.
We've had about 70 go over the years.
Okay, so the point of contact here, I'm going to give you a phone number, 584-4625, and that way you can talk to Paul directly. You could purchase some of this, and again, the money that goes from the sale of these. Oh, I want to backtrack on one thing because this is important. The women who create this jewelry are paid. When it comes back here, they're sold, and all of the money that it's sold for goes back over to help the children. So it helps them in a number of different ways if you follow that. And also, they could, I wanted to say the church is the Presbyterian New England Congregational Church in Saratoga. If you contact them, you can get a lot more information about the organization. And the name of the organization, again, is the AIDS Orphan Education Trust Uganda. Well, there's a lot of information, Paul.
Yes, thank you.
But it's such an amazing, unique thing that you're doing. And right here in Saratoga, how about that? Pretty cool.
Thank you.
Well, Merry Christmas to you.
And Merry Christmas to you.
Okay, and best of luck to you in this venture.
Thank you so much.
You're
Appreciate
quite
it.
welcome. To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.